gentlemen, live from the broken down, low rent, sleazy, double greasy pirate radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the very first ever Southern.
CPR Street Gang, this is Almighty. Standing by, over.
Come on, baby, take a chance.
CPR Street Gang, this is Almighty. Standing by, over.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines,
Clock's run out. Time's up. Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. A broken house, a smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
Show you who the boss is. I'll show you who the winner is. I'm gonna change you right now. I'll show you I'm bigger than you and I'm better than you. Oh, you lady. I'm a cop. I got the power. Oh, yeah. I got the power. I'm a cop. I got the power. I'll do what I want. Lick a boot, boy. Lick it. Lick my boot. Lick it. Lick a boot, boy. Lick my boot. Lick them this way. Now I tell everybody, we run this country now. Get out there on the ground. That ain't good enough, boy. Government king. Cause you're a civilian. That means you're scum. You call me boss man. You should trust us and drink that sodium fluoride. It attacks all your tissues and kills you and brain damages you.
Great civilizations has been around 200 years. These nations have progressed through this sequence from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from great courage to liberty, and from liberty to abundance, from abundance.
Rest in peace, Jordan Maxwell.
From selfishness to complacency, from complacency to apathy, and from apathy back to dependence, and from dependence back to bondage, back to bondage, back to bondage. Logic alone would tell you the republic is being destroyed. Destroyed. The Republic is being destroyed by European secret societies operating under Rome, and nobody seems to know anything about it. Criminals are always organized, that's why they're always superior. Good people never get organized. Only criminals get organized. They operate in the dark, totally ruthless. High crimes and treason against the American Republic. The mad rush for control and ownership of the human race. The human race is lawfully and legally set up to be owned. Our bodies are actually owned on the stock market. Human resource. Just like tin and iron and rubber and oil. It's a resource. Go to Google and just type in commerce game. It's all right there. Nothing works the way you think it does. All over the world, the bankers are still robbing the people, ripping them off, putting it in the bank. The more we change, the more we stay the same. They've made it into a real business now. All of the secret societies, fraternal orders, all the ancient cults of the world, where they came from, who started them, how they're connected. Europe is at the top of the pyramid. Rome rules Europe, period.
My name's Jimmy. I think Bruce is going to be joining me. I found something I want you guys to check out.
said if I can't feel it, then how could it be? No magic could happen to me. And then I saw you, I couldn't believe it. You took my heart, I couldn't retrieve it. Said to myself, what's it all about? Now I know there could be no doubt. You can do magic. You can have anything that you desire. Magic. And you know you're the one who can put out the fire. You know darn well when you cast your spell, you will get your way. When you hypnotize with your eyes, a heart of stone can turn to clay.
We are the guardians of the looking glass. We are a group of former intelligence officers and military officials who have come together to release classified information about future events to come. Our knowledge comes from our work on the looking glass artifact, first discovered in Iraq, along with other discoveries in the 1990s. During this time, the artifact was activated by the US military and connected to computers. We were able to see dozens of future timelines and the convergence or singularities that led to two possible outcomes by the year 2030. In one outcome, humanity awakens and the current order is dismantled. An event then occurs, and instead of this event being negative, it is a positive one. In the other outcome, the current structure remains in place, and nuclear war takes place, along with many horrible events. Then the event occurs, and instead of being a positive event, it is a negative one. You may wonder how one event can either be positive or negative. You will learn, and it will make perfect sense to you once it is explained. This event is a cosmic event, something that happens in our solar system. Without the intervention by the current power structure, this event would be incredibly positive. But due to the vaccines and a secondary plan being developed, the event will instead be turned into a nightmare. We will explain more in a secondary video, which is being released soon, titled 2030 and the Event, if you want to learn more about it. Now, let's move on to the current timelines we are facing and how we must act to change these outcomes. Based on what we learned from the looking glass artifact, we concluded that we must release these videos at this time so that the horrifying events that are about to unfold can be changed. Each week, we will release a new video. Each week, you will learn of new, specific timeline changes so that you can work to change the future outcome. We have been waiting many years to finally release this information.
They've been waiting many years, Bruce, to release this information.
Yeah.
They're releasing it right at the opportune moment, I guess. We'll find out. So, this is The Guardians. This has been out for about a week. There's 3 videos.
Yeah.
Tracks a specific device that was supposedly Sumerian in origin. And it talks a little bit about these portals that open up
Yeah.
Around the world, and I'm pretty sure that Bob's house area might have been one of these type areas where this thing is, where it floats up so many feet off the ground. They'll talk a little bit more about it, but I wanted to check in with you real quick, and then I'm just gonna run this this video. It looks like Rio is over there in the chat. Holly, thanks for your contribution. I really appreciate it. Very much. And also Mike Davis, independent thinker. And I don't have a list, but everybody that's been donating, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So I don't know if Rio's driving home or whatever, but we'll see. I'm gonna throw this on here. So howdy, good to see you, man. Well, I don't see you, but good to hear you.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Video releases are specifically timed based on what the Looking Glass artifact revealed about how to change future events. What we were able to see was that our videos must be released now. Not in the past, not in the future, but on these specific dates, starting in March 2022. We were also able to see that the events can only be changed by the actions of those watching these videos. If these videos are spread and shared by thousands of people, the events can be changed. If the videos are not spread and shared, then the events cannot be changed, and the most negative timeline is then solidified and set in stone. The Looking Glass artifact showed this to us, that it is dependent on the actions of others to change the outcomes. Your work and help to spread this message then becomes vital. It will be up to you what happens. For our first video, we will start with one future date. Future videos we will post will deal with new dates and new events. What follows is the most recent, most important event we must act to change. The date of the first event is April 18, 2022. On this date, a false flag attack will occur in New York City. A bomb will be set off, killing 2,000 Americans instantly and injuring thousands. The bomb will be housed in a large van and set off on or near Times Square during a busy time. This bomb has been planted by interests aligned with the West and their agenda. The media will blame Russia, so will President Biden. They will present some false evidence that points to Russia being the culprit, and much of the world will be convinced. The condemnations will be swift, and then there will be military action. Biden will order an all-out attack of every Russian outpost and asset outside of her borders. This will include all assets in Ukraine and any Russian military naval vessel not at port. Russia's response is restrained. Russia attacks some U.S. assets in Europe but avoids many casualties. Russia manages to only kill a few U.S. military service people, while the United States has just killed thousands of Russian military service people. This leads to conflicting narratives. Some say Russia looks weak and defeated, while others rush to Russia's side, including India and China. By this time, many begin to doubt Russia was behind a truck bombing attack. Many also see the U.S.'s response as too hasty and too severe. Seeing that the first false flag was a general failure and the narrative is turning against them, the West prepares a second false flag. This plan involves the release of anthrax all over Washington, D.C. The plan will use strain 836 of anthrax, the most potent and deadly ever created. It is a strain created by Russia in the past and later destroyed by Russia. However, unbeknownst to the Russians, the strain was smuggled out of Russia by Western assets many years ago and developed in U.S. biolaboratories. Once it is confirmed that it is strain 836, all blame will land at Russia's feet. It is a well-known creation of Russia. Many will believe Russia must be behind it. The attack will kill over 100,000 people within a few days and spread to outlying areas. The attack is so severe that it begins to spread to many large eastern cities, and within 1 week millions are dead and millions more severely ill. The military-grade anthrax is so potent, its spread cannot.
I gotta stop it there, man. Because
this isn't just a story about science.
Okay.
But also good.
I don't know who these people are. Okay, but I've heard about this looking glass thing for a long time.
So, I don't know if you know this, Jimmy, but I'm something of an expert on this topic.
Oh, you are? Well, I mean, I was hoping that you'd have something to add, because before you do, though, let me just throw this out there. So, there's some parts to this storyline, okay, that have been around for a bit. And I don't know if you remember back when, and this has everything in the world. I'm gonna bring CERN into the conversation too. But do you remember back there was a period of time where people were saying that we were going to go through some sort of a cosmic event, and depending on where you were is where you were going to go. So there's a negative timeline and there was a positive timeline. And they said in 2012, okay, if you believed in the negative timeline, then when this event happened, you're going to go on to the negative timeline, which is where we are now. And so have you heard this before?
Yeah, but I've heard all of this. But you finish up.
No, that was it. I just want to say that was one of the things, and then there's some other. It's quite detailed in some of the facts, but I find it's intensely detailed in what's gonna happen. But I feel he brushed over the finding of this, whatever it is, and the talking about this device. He does talk about it. He talks about what happens. We'll get into it. But even in that explanation, he's still not really saying anything. But he's so detailed on these because he says apparently they kept running this. Did you see the episode of Star Trek where Bones, he falls through like something that looks like a portal, and there's history going by, and he jumps in this thing? And he falls in love with some lady, and Spock and Kirk have to find him in history somewhere. And they're on some planet, and what it is exactly what they're talking about. It's like a circle, and you see pictures going by in this cloudy, like, substance. And you're seeing these images going by. So what they're saying is the end of time is in 2030. And that... they've watched this over and over again. It doesn't change. It just plays the same thing over and over again. So this is what they've concluded as a result of that. And so, go ahead, Bruce.
Okay, so Looking Glass first came into the public consciousness with a whistleblower by the name of Bill Brockbrader. He was a Navy SEAL. And this was around 2010, I think. And this was back in the heyday of the alternative media where, Kerry Cassidy and Bill Ryan ruled. And Brockbrader said very similar to what you said. And I've heard this story repeated a dozen times by different sources. So first of all, the Looking Glass technology is founder technology. And the founder beings are, so you know how in scripture we have classes of beings. We have cherubim, we have angels, archangels, and then when you get into the Vedic stuff, it's just like an encyclopedia of beings, right? Well, the founder beings are a kind of being. Their corporeal form is liquid light. They can move between dimensions. They can move between universes. They can move anywhere they like. They have free reign in all of creation.
So it's like, is it similar to what we experienced in the movie The Abyss?
Yeah, that's an interesting analogy. There was a bit of liquid light there, but and Cameron may have been privy to it, right? Because a lot of these Hollywood producers, they let them know, or they just, by the company they keep, they hear these stories around the pool, having cocktails or having coffee and cigars with friends, right? In certain circles, this stuff is really just common knowledge. For the rest of us, not so much. Now, what happened was the founders left behind these 3 looking glass devices there, and there are 3. And for the future they predict to come about, all 3 have to align. And what Bill Brockbrader told us is that they stopped aligning. Okay, and now this is the story I've heard numerous times. And so the long and short of it is we have a blank slate now to go forward. And when you look at people, all of us, me, you, Rio, Epic, all the listeners, a significant portion of our thinking now is rooted in a reality that is no longer existent. It's negativity for the sake of negativity. It's habitual negativity, because we went to this big ramp up leading to 2012, and 2014 was actually the really pivotal year for how things changed. And a lot of astrologers got this right too. And now what we're witnessing is the end of the negative control on the planet. It doesn't mean negativity is going to go away. First of all, the idea that negativity has to be conquered is a malignant Christian idea that needs to be dealt with competent theological debate. Okay? We've let the Christians run wild with this idea. You cannot exist in this reality, in this 3D reality, without negativity. What holds an atom together, Jimmy? A negative and a positive what? Negative and positive electron, right? So you can't live here without negativity, but the negativity got out of control. The negativity gets out of control when the human race becomes spiritually dull. We are in the Dark Age, the Iron Age, the Kali Yuga now, and I believe we're coming out of it, but this is what happens. And what happens...
What do you think about the concept of the progression is going backwards? We started at the Golden Age, and we've gone progressively backwards since then.
Yeah, the cycle reprimes itself all the time. All the time. So this is the Vedic astrology, right? The yugas. And so you go back to you go directly from the Kali Yuga to the Sat Yuga. And the Sat Yuga is the Golden Age, where everybody has the presence of God. Everybody has the presence of God in them. Okay? Doesn't matter what religion, nothing. I mean, and God is just a sense of well-being in this definition, a sense of connectedness to life. And the Golden Age has many hallmarks. We can start to see them all around us now. I mean, people are just popping off now. You know, every other person can talk to animals now. Every other person is a spiritual healer now. And they're not, I mean, some of them are lying, some of them are charlatans, but there is an explosion of consciousness now. Right? A massive explosion. So we're going into an age of light. And the only thing that can do you in now is not believing that. Because this is the power of free will. Okay? And by the way, not all universes are free will. Some of them are like Chinese matriculation. You go into the system, you have a series of experiences, and it refines you to a point where you are a vibrationally compatible component of the God source, and then you can go out to any reality and aid the creative process. Okay, so it's an incredibly beautiful time we're going through now. I've been saying this for a couple of years. People hate my guts. You know, you remember that crowd we used to know over at Rev Radio there. I mean, they all want to believe it's the end, right? Because they're following through. It's all programming at this point. If you just kept a dream journal and kept in tune with your dreams, your inner self would tell you, no, that's not right. But there's a certain amount of people, a certain amount of the population that are just going to run off a cliff like a herd of buffaloes, Jimmy. Now, this isn't to say that there aren't perils. There are perils. But if you have consciousness, you can see them now.
Well,
it's up to each individual to address them.
This here is the same war that was being fought before. But the thing is that people think that the United States won the war. But the thing is that's not what happened, is that ideology basically was transferred from Germany over to the United States. So NATO is essentially, and the European Union is exactly what Hitler wanted. He wanted a unified Europe. And so NATO is basically the same enemy that Russia had in World War II. And so, you know, the current situation being what it is, it seems to be the same battle that's occurring now that occurred then, with the same opposing
Jimmy,
forces.
I think it's even worse than that. I think what we're looking at now that is different than World War II is, I think that at the very top levels, there's a Judeo-Nazi alliance.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's even scarier than just the Nazis,
no,
right?
I know. There's a whole thing going on. I don't want to get into it tonight. Maybe tomorrow night when Epic's here, if you want to come join us. we'll get into more into that. But it's interesting today because I was doing a bit of hanging around, and so I watched a video, a particular video off I'm in an RH negative group, and somebody had posted this video, and I watched it, and it had to do with RH negative blood and RH positive blood and the rhesus factor and the dissemination of chemicals through a cell. And what was shown was that the people that had RH negative blood types, they didn't have this particular DNA part that the positive people did have, which their system, the way it was set up to filter out ammonia and something else. And because of that, it is a resistor in people who have RH positive blood. It's like a resistor.
Yeah.
And that people that have RH negative blood don't have that. And because of that, electricity goes through people with RH negative blood type different than it does with RH positive. And because of that, what's been put forward around that is that it just happens that Ashkenazi Jews happen to be RH negative. And it's an interesting thing going on here. It's got a lot of. I think this battle has been going on for a fucking long time, and I mean since you wrote the book with the Galactic Historian, which I've never read. I'm sure there's talk in there, just because I haven't. I feel it intrinsically that this battle that's going on is not between whatever we're calling it.
Yeah,
it's between two forces that are trying to decide who's going to be the ruler of Earth, right?
Yeah.
So, and isn't this not the perfect time for some Antichrist figure to show up and heal the wounds of the planet? Bring peace and all this. I mean, script-wise, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that will be the final chapter of the Kali Yuga. I think you're absolutely right. I think it will happen. I think that figure is probably alive now, probably about, 25 or 30 years old, and will probably make their appearance around the age of 33. And probably will come from the area of down around Syria. There's a lot more ground to cover, first before we get there. And there has to be a redrawing of the maps, and old countries that don't exist anymore have to come back into being. I'm not talking about Israel, by the way. But yeah, we're very, very close now. That scripture will probably play out. It's not really a prophecy so much as it is a logical observation of the karmic energies in the human race. Because we're in this phase of humanity, we're a hierarchical being. So the prince of negativity, or the prince of the Kali Yuga, would have to manifest to take responsibility for what's going on here, and he'll fail. He'll succeed for a short period of time. It'll seem miraculous, and then it'll all start to fall apart. And that's the beginning of the end, where we begin cycling into the Sat Yuga. Now, the Golden Age. People look. Golden Ages are generally not prolific in technology other than consciousness technology. So you don't really get sick. You live a lot longer. So probably by the 22nd century, we'll start to see advances in human lives, and this will change human beings, and we will start having less children. Okay. So it'll probably jump to like 120 years by this time in the next century. So well,
that coincides with what's being said on the Guardian material.
I've never seen that material. I'm just mapping it out logically.
No, I'm not saying you have. What I'm saying is what you're saying, unbeknownst to you, is also correlating with what they're saying if the positive timeline situation is met. So basically what these Guardian people are putting forward with this YouTube channel is hang on a second. Let me tell everybody else, because you and I know. So what the Guardians are putting forward is that they say that there's a percentage chance that we can change things. Okay, there's like a 4% chance we can change things to the positive timeline. When we get to this timeline, there's going to be some galactic phenomenon that happens. And when that happens, it's going to energize the human beings that are on Earth. And in order for that to happen, certain things have to take place in order they don't let certain things happen.
Yeah.
So, that event's going to happen. They know this galactic event, whatever, we're going to be hit by some wave at some certain time. And so that they have to have certain things done. And some people say the graphene oxide has to do with that it's going to block these cosmic rays or these cosmic energies that come through and block people from. Go ahead, if you know any about this. Is all new to me, man. I mean, I've heard the galactic wave shit before,
So there was a very famous French scientist who was the voice of this idea. I forget his name. Also goes back to like 2007, 2008. They've already seen it. There's a wave coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So the negatives know already they can't win. This is what Looking Glass told them. In no circumstance does the negative triumph in this 21st century. In no circumstance. Now, that is for the overall. It's for the planet, and it's for the surviving human race.
When you say the negative, are you talking about these people that have enslaved the human race and feed off the emotional value of the crises they create?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The loosh farmers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Only reason I'm defining it is because earlier when you said negative, I saw some people go, negative is a new age thing. I think it was Robin. So now I just want to say, when you say negative, what you're meaning is the forces of darkness is what you're talking about, just to clarify for anybody who might have a misconception of what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne, he's got a few books. Suzanne wants the titles of your books. So the Galactic Historian. Go ahead.
Yeah, you want to just go to Bruce MacDonald on Amazon, MacDonald. And now I've got some really good fiction up there. If you want to read a great novel, read The Stolen Child. Coureur de Bois is up there. My first novel that published in Canada got 5-star reviews. But you have to like literature for that stuff. The stuff that pertains to listeners of Jimmy's show is my nonfiction. Okay. And in the nonfiction area, I would start with Stardust Ranch with myself and John Edmonds, who just passed on February 28th. And that'll begin, and that is a living experience with a portal, exactly what Jimmy's talking about tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I don't know where that is in this video, and we're only 5 minutes into it, so I wanted to, see if we could, find that particular part, because I thought it was interesting, or it's different. And you know what trips me out about even if this is bullshit, just the concept of what they bring up into my mind when I hear it, is there's all these places around. I don't know if you've ever heard about these, but there's these places around on Earth and these natural parks and stuff. And they have staircases that go to nowhere, and there's all these people that fucking disappear, and it trips me out because it makes me think, you could be at one of these spots and not know it, and just, you know what I mean, over there. And I start to wonder about CERN, and I start to think, is CERN a cell phone? In other words, a cell phone, I can talk to you on the cell phone and you can hear me. Well, we used to be able to just do that, right? I didn't need a cell phone, but as humans, we had to develop the cell phone to achieve that. Now I'm saying, is CERN an artificial representation of some sort of same thing as the Looking Glass technology, but they needed to make CERN in order to achieve some of the things that they found with that technology. What do you think about that?
Well, CERN is a whole other topic. It's very nefarious. I'd rather not get into it tonight.
Yeah, well, let's get into it when Epic's here, because that's one of the things because the thing is, the reason I'm bringing it up is because all of a sudden there's all these things that are ending up in the same bag. Okay? So there's CERN, and there's people that believe the timeline's been messed with or whatever, and that's what the Mandela effect is. And Epic has gone extensively into the Mandela effect and quantum superpositioning. So I think it would be a really good conversation to have with him when he's here tomorrow. I did bring up this guy, the setting the world on fire guy, for everybody to hear, because I don't think a lot of people have heard this guy. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spin out of control with CERN there and divert your attention. But yeah, back to the book. So there was one of these type of areas that we're talking about here, potentially at that property.
Yeah, there's 3 portals at Stardust Ranch. It's a time portal, and you can, it's just read the book. You will not believe it. And it's all real. I mean, I bear witness. I'm firsthand experiencer. So I mean, for whatever that's worth. But stuff like this, people don't tend to believe until they experience it, including myself. I'm not saying that critically. I don't really believe in believing anything. I think as human beings we have the right to know.
I'm the same way. Yeah. Listen, I'll entertain any of this shit. Okay? I entertain it for the intellectual ping pong of it. Okay? For the supposition coming from deep within each of us that comes on here and talks about shit. You know what I mean? Because the thing is that when you and I are getting on here and having a conversation, we've had thousands of conversations, man. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that we have a wealth of inside of us to draw from in taking a look at some of these events that are going on. So, I mean, I don't mind stretching my brain around something that may or may not be true. It doesn't matter, because to me, ultimately, everything fucking thing we've ever known may or may not be true at this point.
Yeah.
And so at this point, anything's possible. So, and anything can happen. So, I mean, if anything's possible and anything can happen, then everything that everyone's always said may very well be true. I mean, it's clear that all these things, all these years that we thought were fairy tales, weren't actually fairy tales really at all, if you believe in what people believe in now, right?
Yeah.
So there was giants, there are witches, they did capture children with the gingerbread house.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's literally uncanny.
Yeah.
But
so I always counsel people, people have a lot of trouble with this. They can't form a context in their mind to understand what we're talking about, Jimmy. But I can help a little bit with that. The best context to understand this stuff is economy. And so transactions, exchanges, okay? So, what are the children about? What is the blood ritual about? Okay? So, as you know, Jimmy, I keep an American Staffordshire Terrier at my house.
Yeah, listen, I just want to say, here's what I want to say. We're on YouTube, and this is like, I am literally hanging by a fucking thread, okay? So let me just tell you, there's a few things you shouldn't talk about. That's probably one of them, and another one is anything having to do with the contest that happened between the current resident and the former resident.
Okay.
So, yeah, because we got some trouble. So I just wanted to say that because I hadn't mentioned it to you before we got on here.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we don't get in trouble. Well, who knows? It doesn't matter. I've already gotten in trouble somewhere else on my channel, so it's only a matter of fucking time. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So no, but I mean, ultimately, when you look at it and you see, in the early part of America's development, and you see all these orphans, where did the orphans come from? And from that moment forward, the distribution of those orphans throughout the United States is a pipeline and a railroad that still exists. And if you really wanted to get down and dirty, and I don't want to do it right now, but I heard how to look at the Red Cross numbers of the refugees from Ukraine, and there's almost 1 million children. 10 million total, mostly women. It's women and children, and 1 million of those are children.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is the potential for nefarious activities. There's 1 million chances something bad's going to happen to somebody.
And I will just say, not placing any risk upon your channel, but intuitively, just what I feel in my gut and what my spirit tells me, Zelensky's in that trading route.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
he's Raybo in the chat was saying he was working on particle accelerators.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, Raybo. You should come on sometime and talk about it, man. When we get back on the network. So, So anyhow, you want to continue, or do you want me to get into some of this, they're setting the world on fire thing, and I can run in and get a hot cup of coffee?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go. All right, so here's the name of this dude's channel. Is fucking, I don't know what it is. Hang on. His chats was going over there. Let me see. If I expand his ass and see if I can get the channel. So the name of this video is part 1. Is the USA, hang on. Is the USA committing suicide? And, if you think about the last 2 years, and you think about all the money that was handed out when we went bankrupt, when the bankruptcy expert was in the residency, and you see the open looting and the pissing in your face shit that's been going on, it's clear that we're being looted right now, because the United States, did you know? Listen, I'm going to bring up 2 things. We can talk about it tomorrow night, or we could talk a little bit about tonight if you want in a minute, Bruce, but number 1, Clarence Thomas's wife wrote a letter to Obama asking him to remove the election results. And number 2, Trump has filed a RICO lawsuit against the Democratic National Convention, including Hillary Clinton and Podesta and all these people. So we will see what happens. All right, here's this dude. Hang on.
Called The United States is Committing Suicide. And it's, Wednesday, March 23rd, I believe, 2022. Yeah, it's going to be exactly a month since the invasion. Oh, yeah. This is some of the most exciting times of our lives. I mean, we should keep that in mind. This truly is, a world is ending. And it is already gone. It's behind us. And I think in a very real sense, the COVID pandemic was sort of like a pause. And now we're starting this new world, this new reality, this new paradigm, geopolitically, socially, culturally, everything. This is the moment. And it might end in nuclear oblivion. I hope not. But I think it might turn out for the best for everyone involved. And before anything, let me just hit you all. Well, nobody's saying anything, so I'm assuming that the sound and the video quality is okay. Hit me with where is Tiffany Dover? If you all can see and hear me properly, that would be great. And how many people are in the house? 1,500. Wow, that's very impressive. Thank you very much for attending. Hit me with a where is Tiffany Dover? If you can hear me and see me properly. I'll wait for chat to catch up. Ghost of Chile. That's pretty funny. If you're German like me, it's gone. Heart, thank you. But where is Tiffany Dover? There, I see some. Where is Tiffany Dover? And some 333s. Time for communism has come. Yeah, sure, right, commie. Yeah, up against the wall. Yeah, that's what I say to all you commies. Anyway, no, seriously, kidding aside, and of course I was joking. I'd never waste bullets on a commie. I'd just throw them from a helicopter like gentlemen do. Anyway, I'm in a good mood. I don't know quite why, but I am. I'm in a damn good mood, to tell you the truth. Even though I'm going to be talking about something kind of horrible, which is the collapse of Western civilization. It's not the collapse. It's the shifting. I mean, we have to face some facts here that Europe and America, North America and Australia and New Zealand, they're all decadent and pathetic. Leah Thomas, anyone? Leah Thomas or Thompson? Leah Thomas, who won the national championship in swimming. What kind of decadence and degeneracy? A Supreme Court nominee who can't define what a woman is? Oh man, come on. The decadence and degeneracy, where they're grooming children to turn them into catamites and sex toys. Come on, it's over. It's over for the West, and we today, as a matter of fact, it's really funny because I decided to do this stream bright and early in the morning, and I posted it and ready to roll. And then later today came an announcement from Vladimir Putin. One of the most important announcements that has been put out there by any major leader since, this is major. And it seems so trivial. And a lot of you are not going to understand the significance, and I'm going to explain it to you. Okay, and the announcement he put out was that from here on out, Gazprom, the oil giant, that national oil giant that distributes natural gas and other petroleum products to Europe, will require all payments to be made in rubles, not euros, not dollars, rubles. And this is world historical. It's the end of the United States' economic preeminence around the world. Okay, you have to understand it. And I'm going to explain why in this broadcast. It's going to be long because it's a complicated topic, okay? But you have to understand what is going on. And if you're American, by the end of the year, you're going to have 25 to 35% inflation rate. And by the end of 2023, a dollar isn't going to be worth a nickel. I'm not kidding. Your actual coins, your nickels and dimes and quarters that you put in a coffee can because they jingle in your pocket, and every evening you come home. This is what I do actually, and you just drop them in the little coffee can, right? Those coins are going to be worth more than their face value. Oh yeah. By the end of 2023, yeah, and by the end of this year, you're going to feel it. And in Europe, and in the United States, man, I can't believe it, which is a food exporter, net food exporter, you're going to go hungry. Yeah, you are going to go hungry. The United States is committing suicide. And it's about to embark on a war with China. You don't see it yet, but it's there. It's already happening, okay? And so it's a complicated topic, okay? And so let me get into it. See, it all started with Iran in 1979, okay? In January of 1979, the Shah of Iran was overthrown by Islamic Revolution. And during the revolution, the oil flow was cut from Iran to the rest of the world. And this caused a major oil crisis. Oil prices shot the moon. I remember I was 11 years old at the time. I hadn't turned quite 11 when the revolution happened. And I remember in 79, my parents driving the cars bright and early in the morning to the gas stations to buy gas because everybody was panicking and stuff, right? Okay, so the United States and Iran have had a horrible relationship, and it's just bad karma all around. The United States has fucked over Iran multiple times, and the Brits too. But America is really to blame. And the Iranians hate America for shit that goes way back. It's a long history lesson, but justifiably, okay? They overthrew a fairly decent president that the Iranians had through a CIA-backed coup and all kinds of shenanigans, They supported the Shah of Iran, who was,
So there he goes, or there he is. There he is, yeah. I would seriously highly recommend, before lots of people think about it, just to go to your bank and get like $50 worth of nickels. $50 worth of pennies. Seriously. Copper's going to be worth money. Copper's already gone up quite a bit. And I'll tell you right now, aluminum. People are fucking stealing people's catalytic converters now. You know that? Hey, what's up, Andy? Yeah, people are getting caught stealing. I mean, all over the place, stealing catalytic converters out of cars.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So this guy makes a lot of sense. A lot of people don't know when the Shah of Iran was in there.
Yeah.
That the United States gave them the same exact printing presses as the United States used. And so when they threw out the Shah, those printing presses were still there. They were left over. And fucking Iran was just printing up money, $100 bills, 20s. So there was a whole thing going on. That's how come that money eventually got that weird little hidden thing inside of it.
Yeah.
You know, so you could tell it was real money. Whatever. Real American money.
So this is, as you know, Jimmy, my buddy here's got something to say about this. As you know, Jimmy, this has all been planned. I mean, you can start the clock when Nixon took United States off the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
First thing we did after the Cold War was pretty much over in '92. Is all the G7 countries went from a 1 to 10 to a 1 to 20 fractional reserve. So this is what created all these bubbles. And the architects of this, the monetary policy people, they could not have not known what they were doing. Okay? You know, so they knew what they were doing. And it's so this idea that we're collapsing and that we have to go into a great reset, this is all part of a cumulative plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And maybe I'm not saying we don't need an economic reset. I mean, probably we do. Probably the best thing to do would be, I think the system we have is perfect. So I think a debt jubilee, where all debt between nations is written off to the degree that there's counter debt. So China owes the United States money, the United States owes China money. Sit down and cancel debt. You want to know why that doesn't take place? Because the third-party banking interest doesn't get its fig. The banking mafia doesn't get paid if we settle things on our own. And that's the biggest obstacle we have to face now. And as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to say this out loud, I think that's what Vladimir Putin is fighting, and I support it.
Well, I mean, they clearly set up the brick and the Belt and Road project is going to lift most of the world out of poverty.
Yeah.
So the thing is, America used to be the shiny, place on the hill.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. So
but that was deliberately done.
Yeah, of course, it was milk. It's been milked as long the carcass has been sucked dry. And now all the best components have been spun off into other countries. And most of what exists in the world today doesn't even physically exist. It's all ones and zeros.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, fucking,
So people might be wondering, Jimmy, how does a human being cope with all this? Well, live rural, have your own water, have a portion of your own food supply, and if at all possible, get into commodities as an economy.
I would pay attention right now in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I would say if you're here in America, if you're anywhere like not where Bruce is, South America, I think South America is going to be okay.
Central.
I'm just saying, but I'm saying that way everything's going to be okay. I think there's going to be a lot of people from America trying to get into fucking Mexico, and that's going to cause a problem because
it's already going on, Jimmy.
Yeah, that resonated with me when I heard that part of this Looking Glass thing, is he talks about this thing happening in America and then everybody trying to get, GTFO across the border. And then
Yeah, if you go back to the Deagle.com analysis and you get into the more positive aspects of it after the death tolls and everything, so the depopulation in North America that they give in those, and do you want to just briefly prime your audience on what I'm talking about?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was reading the chat. I didn't hear what you just said.
Okay, so Deagle.com was an independent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, this was a. I don't know. He had a radio show. I heard somebody play a clip off his radio show.
No. That's Dr. Bill Deagle. Deagle.com is something else entirely.
No. But I heard somebody detailing what was on the website the other day. Someone was playing. Somebody was doing a radio show, and they were detailing what was on there. So basically, the way it panned out on there was 128 million people left in America after whatever's going to happen. So that's basically 1/3. But
well, I heard 98 million.
All right. Well, so listen. But here's. Did you know? That 70 million people quit their job? Did you know that? 70 in America, 70 fucking million people have quit their job. Now, if there's 300 and some odd million people here, how many of those people are of working age? And a lot of those people, they don't work. A lot of those people are old. If you tossed out those people, how many people are left? 100 million? 70 million of those people are fucking unnecessary. They quit their jobs.
So if you have a pig pen, how do you know which pig is the Christmas pig? The Christmas pig is the one the farmer takes extra special care of, gives it the sweet apples to give it a flavor, fattens it up. That's the Christmas pig. So in this scenario, what we're going through, the Christmas pig is the baby boom generation. And why that's such a convenient cull for them is that they're going to not have to pay the Social Security, which is like trillions in liability when you add it all up. So
they're never going to pay that.
They want to get rid of the baby boomers.
What they'll do is when they do pay, they're going to pay out. But when they do, it's going to be after all this old money debt is wiped out by catastrophe. And then when it comes back, everything will be in this new digital money that you'll get with your digital card. Like right now in California, they're already talking about giving you $400 a month for gas on a card.
Wow.
Believe that or not, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. Because people are leaving California like their ass is on fire.
Yeah.
It's expensive, man. It's going to get more and more expensive. Listen, I wanted to recommend something to everybody, and before I forget, let me do it right now, okay, Bruce? So go ahead and say something because I got to get this video real quick. Hang
on. The digital money will be very short-lived. That won't last longer than 5 or 7 years. When the final collapse happens, I believe the Hopi were right. So they say that the fifth shaking of the world will be so severe that if you haven't gone back to planting your own food, you might not make it. Okay? So it's just a Hopi prophecy. I'm not making too much of it. I don't bang drums and light fires every night. I don't practice native spirituality. It stands out to me because it's so hauntingly accurate.
Welcome. Well, the thing is that people hear about planting their own shit at their house, and the average Joe Blow that's sitting there, they don't realize that you don't just instantly become a guy that can go out and plant shit in your yard and make it grow. So there's a lot to making shit grow, and you don't realize that. You think, and I'm just basing this on my personal experience, okay? One year I decided to plant some fucking corn, all right? It's just a little thing. I was planting some corn. So I plant these corns. I got like 6 really nice stalks with all of these corns growing on there. That shit, I was taking care of it, man. I was watering it every fucking day. I was going, yeah, man, I'm going to have me some corn. And then fucking one day I came out and a rat fucking ate some corn out of each ear of corn on every fucking stalk, and my
Yep.
crop was wiped out. I'm just saying that's the kind of shit right there that you don't think about. You go, oh yeah, I bought this bucket of seeds or shit. This shit ever hits the fan, I'll just plant these things and I'll grow my own food. Well, first of all, you ain't gonna eat for like fucking 6 months, man.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, the thing is, you gotta, if you're gonna do anything for yourself, man, I would suggest doing it as quickly as possible before the prices go up. You know?
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you want to be as close to autonomous as you can possibly be. I might be 80%. I'd like to get to 100% in the next year. That's going to involve a fair bit of work, but I got all the people to do it now. I got an excellent crew of 3 Nicaraguan brothers that run my Abaca farm. I could not be happier, man. My wife's upset with me because she thinks I treat them too well, but they're like family, man. So I got to get I got to go see an arborist and get a whole bunch more trees in. But I got a lot of fruit up here now. And then I got to massively increase my vegetables, and I want to get a lot of what I call base food, okay? So the easiest and best base food to grow over here is yucca. You guys might know it as cassaveses. You know, but it's a root vegetable. And it's kind of like a potato, but much, much bigger, and it's much more nutrition. It's got magnesium and a whole bunch of stuff, and it's very easy to grow, and you can live on this stuff. I mean, I lived on it for a few weeks in like 2019, right? I grew some yucca, and I just ate yucca every day for like weeks.
Well, listen, I got this channel up here, and now my mouse, this has been happening regularly, and for some reason my mouse is not working. Hang on a second. Yeah, my mouse is not working over there. Alright, but listen, here's this channel. There's an old bag. There's an old lady on here, and she has a channel, and it's called Great Depression Cooking Channel. Okay? So I want to recommend it to you. Here, I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. Hang on.
Yeah.
I want to recommend it to everybody.
The superfoods are really important, and realize if you're living in the first world now, they're coming at you from every angle. So your food has no nutrition. Okay, so a tomato you buy today has about 10% of the nutrition of the fertilizers that were used. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So everything we've done to speed up the economy, to live the way we do, it's like it's all coming back to get us now. We didn't open up a single problem in the Industrial Revolution that we have successfully closed. So I'll go back to the very beginning. The illumination of cities, power centers. So they needed to distribute electricity, they needed transformers. Transformers get ridiculously hot. To keep them cool, they had to create an artificial liquid called polychlorinated benzyls, PCBs. This was done in 1905, somewhere around there. One of your listeners may look up on Wiki and go, it's 1914, McDonald's an idiot. Somewhere around there, okay? I'm not doing a history lesson. To this day, Jimmy, we don't know how to get rid of PCBs. We put them into big steel containers and bury them in the ground. Okay?
Yeah.
So one of the things that gets overlooked in the Industrial Revolution, because people are just fascinated with the physics and the biology, gene work, cloning, and the CERN stuff we talked about earlier. People don't take a good look at chemistry. Okay? Chemistry has probably done more damage to the planet than any other science. Mm-hmm. Okay? Beginning with polychlorinated benzyls. Chemists made that. Okay? It's a chemical formula. But these chemists create compounds that don't naturally occur in the world, and therefore there is no natural remedy in the world to recycle the energy, to decompose things, right? So the circular principle of the ecosystem is broken.
Mm-hmm.
This is the true environmental catastrophe we're living. I don't know why the human race has developed this habit of coming up with narratives that are conceptually true but factually inaccurate. Mm-hmm. I think it's just to sow confusion. I swear to God.
Yeah,
it's not climate change. It's not carbon, folks.
It's just a bedtime story, dude.
It's the chemists have done us in. Okay.
The thing is, though, ultimately, the size of this Earth and the amount of whatever that is, there's a lot of deadly shit all over the Earth that's just as deadly as that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like frozen methane at the bottom of the fucking ocean. That when the oceans heat up, the methane becomes unfrozen and starts to fucking come up and come out of the sea and get in the atmosphere. And then shit catches on fire and the whole planet fucking burns to a cinder. You know, I mean, everywhere. Everything just goes and that's it.
Jesus, Jimmy, you live with some dark visions.
No, I don't give a fuck. I wasn't even going to get dark. I'm just saying, here's the thing. I don't worry about shit like that. What I do worry about, though, is cooking in depression-like scenarios. And because that's, you know, I think from a realistic perspective, I mean, even though I entertain some of these dark storylines, I'm still looking for a job. You know, I'm still planning on coming to visit you. You know, I'm still
Get your house sorted in California. You can come squat here till the end of your days.
Well, it sounds like everybody's going to be heading over the border pretty quick. Listen, let's take a listen to this lady. She's 91 years old. She's got some wisdom in there, man. She wants to let it out. Everybody can learn. You got to eat. You got no money. You're living on the skids. Listen, my family were immigrants on the East Coast, man. And my great-great-grandpeople, they kept pigeons, man. They were in the Depression. They kept pigeons. You know why? Because pigeons is like squab, man. You just go out there and, you know, get yourself a pigeon, and it's like a Cornish game hen. So you can keep pigeons for almost nothing. That's why there's so many fucking pigeons all over the East Coast, is because because in the Depression, everybody had pigeons.
Yeah. Yeah. And rabbit breed very quickly. They gain their weight very quickly. I mean, from birth to consumption might be 5-6 weeks with a rabbit.
Yeah.
Right.
They can you can start out with a couple that are your pets, and the one when they have babies, you know, and so on and so forth. All right, let's listen to this lady real quick. Let's do this. Here we go.
I'm Clara. I'm 91 years old. Today we are making meals from the Depression.
Hey, you want me to share my screen with you, dude?
I'm going to make the poor man's meal, which we ate during the Depression. It has potatoes and hot dogs because they were cheaper, so we got the hot dogs. Let's begin by peeling the potatoes. What do you want to hear about the Depression? I had to quit high school because couldn't afford socks. Couldn't afford anything to wear. But we survived. We survived. We were all fat. We're eating potatoes. My father used to buy a sack of potatoes. And we ate potatoes every day. Potatoes with pasta, potatoes fried, potatoes with eggs. The way my father would buy a sack of potatoes, a sack of everything, flour. Potatoes were $1 a sack. But that was a lot of money, $1. This is the last one I think I'm going to.
So the thing that's going through my mind right now, Bruce, is I was on Craigslist today, and I went on the farm and garden section, and there's people on there, you know, they have chickens and they're selling eggs. How much do you think they're selling a dozen eggs for, Bruce?
No idea.
Just make a guess.
$2.
$6.
Jesus.
So what I'm saying is $6 for some eggs from guy down the street. It's $6 for eggs in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? For these kind of eggs.
Yeah.
those grocery store eggs are going to be $12. A bag of potatoes is not going to be $1. A bag of potatoes is going to be $20 or $25. That kind of shit. If what people are saying is real. In other words, if we're not getting fertilizer and it's planting time, where's the food going to come from if everybody cuts us off because everybody, according to Fink from Blackstone, or if everyone's going to reel back into their own countries and globalism is dead, BlackRock, then how are we going to survive? We don't produce enough food to feed our nation anymore here in America. I don't know what you do up in Canada. I don't know how much actual producing you do, but
the interesting thing to note about BlackRock is they have massive holdings, but they seem to focus on physical assets, which if you follow financial trends, Jimmy, through the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, physical assets, they revitalized the real estate market by the new mortgage rules that led up to whatever those two organizations are, Fannie Mae and the other one. They did all that. That was completely manufactured. And because they sold those globes into the international market as AAA, that is literally the largest fraud ever perpetrated in the world. You don't have the right to stand up. I mean, you've seen The Big Short, right? The movie?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have the right to stand up and say, well, we didn't do this intentionally. Who gives a shit? You were in charge. You go back and you read Sir Robert Fraser's The Golden Bough, which became the foundation document for the science we call anthropology. Mm-hmm. The habit of smallly grouped people in kingdoms was to kill the king after 2 failed crops. Okay, and I'm not saying we need to return to that barbarity, but in the ancient aristocracies, there was tremendous risk in power. There's no risk in power, man. It's all done by their straw men. Okay, and so they get unelected and they go off and they live with the filthy lucre they stole for 4 years. There's no responsibility. There's no liability in power anymore, Jimmy, which is one of the most disturbing things in the world that nobody talks about. People love the sexy stuff, right? The stuff related to the Bible because it strokes their little Jesus egos and they think they're prophets and stuff. But it's all a distraction. It's a bunch of nonsense.
All right, okay? Look, I'm telling people about this book right here.
Yeah.
All right, listen. All right. Let me share. You want me to share my screen with you, dude?
Oh, no, I'm good.
All right. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're gonna buy one fucking book. In other words, if you got a backpack and you got to decide what's going to be in it because you got to walk around with it, the one book you want to have in that backpack is this book right here, Back to Eden. Okay? This book is from fucking like the late 60s, all right? Everything you need to know is in this fucking book. Period. I'm telling you. It's even got a whole section in there on health stuff, like different things. You can use it to diagnose your health conditions. And I'm just telling you, man, if we got one fucking book, that book right there can keep you alive. If you got to go walk off with a backpack and start a rural situation for yourself somewhere, then that book right there will do it. And I would highly recommend. I'm just telling you guys in case something happens. Listen, get yourself a fucking road atlas at a truck stop and have it in your shit. You can't depend on GPS. If something happens, you got a road atlas, man, you're going to be able to take secondary roads that nobody even fucking knows about. Bruce just went south on me. I don't know what happened to him, but he'll come back. All right, so listen, Back to Eden. There it is. Look, you can get it for $6. What is it? Let me open this up. You go to Amazon, $7.69 right there. Look at it. I'm telling you, right here, back to Eden. There it is. So there it is, back to Eden, and get yourself a road atlas from a truck stop. United States of America. Something happens, you get off on the fucking secondary roads nobody's going to know about. Everybody's going to be on the main roads. So, I'm just telling you, get a road atlas and back to Eden. You put that shit in your backpack. It's almost as important as matches. All right, there it is, man. I gave you guys the best shit I know to help you in case this scenario as we're talking about is actually going to happen. Bruce don't have to worry, man. He's already got his shit rolling. See, his stuff's already growing. He just walks out there and grabs something.
30% increase in the price of Abaca per kilogram.
Damn.
Yeah. The company I sell to is addressing the inflation concerns of their farmers. So it's a good month for me. So just think of it as a circle, folks. No matter what you do in the world now, you want to get closer to the beginning, which is just, living in an adobe house or a wood house and growing food and having your own water. Don't become a Luddite. Whatever technology persists, continue to use it. It's beneficial. All of the technology we've created is beneficial. The intent behind it is what's malicious now. And here I'm talking about the Alphabet Group, and Google and all those people. But everything we've invented from television onwards, if we were governed by people who just didn't want to abuse us and extort money out of us and create a consumer mentality, we'd have already created a utopia just with the broadcasting technology.
Well,
okay? Nobody gives a shit about you. They haven't given a shit about you the whole 20th century. The whole Industrial Revolution's been about fucking you over. Get that through your head, okay? You really got to understand that. And now they got you right where they want you. It started in the 70s with all of the social programs, Keynesian economics, they called it, folks, for those of you who went to university and studied economics. John Maynard Keynes, and this was the beginning of monetary policy that saw government become a spender in investment programs for the population, which were really the beginning of the parenting by government. Government's responsibility before the social programs really took off was really nothing more than roads, hospitals, schools were done municipally through municipal taxes, all of these sorts of things. For those of you who don't like the right side of politics, I hate to tell you, but Reagan nailed it, man. He said the scariest words any American can hear is "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
Mm-hmm.
Right? But sometime around the 80s or the 90s, after we won the Cold War, that's when they really started putting the screws to us, okay? That's where they set up this 30-year cycle from 92 to 2022 that brought us to this point. Okay? So you can't blame any one thing. Like, even I do it. I say stuff like, well, the 2007 subprime mortgage financial debacle was the result of, this and this and this. But it really folds into a larger program. So when you go back and you look at banking in 1972, folks, there were no banking millionaires. There were banking families like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and stuff like that. But their banking fortunes had been made on commodities for the most part, except for the Rothschilds. I mean, they've always been paper people going right back to the bond market in the Battle of Waterloo. But the Rockefellers, they started in oil, right? Standard Oil. So they built it up. Now, in 1975, working in the banking sector, first of all, there was no such thing as an MBA, Jimmy, a master's in business administration. Okay? Look at all of this shit that started in the 90s and everything, Look at the self-help stuff. Look at Anthony Robbins. It's all about making money. And it's nonsense. And it created a nearly useless people on a spiritual level, because in the pursuit of money became so strong that everything else just went away. All the other things human beings did, like, plant food. I don't need to plant food anymore, man. I just need to make
what
money.
happened was they made us dependent on prepackaged and pre-prepared foods. I mean, it's to the point now where younger people, they don't even go to the store anymore. They just sign up for a service that sends them all the shit to put in the pan. It's already cut up for them and everything. Here, let me cut your broccoli for you, little boy. Man, it's fucking... Man, when the shit hits the fan, there's going to be a bunch of people staring at their phones, man, wondering what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
You're just standing there. I mean, after that shit happened in Puerto Rico, I had this picture. There was a picture of all these people standing by the cell phone tower, holding their phone up as high as they could reach with their little monkey hand, trying to get some signal. So it looks like Rio's back home. I don't know if Rio, say in the chat if you want to jump on. I got to go inside and get something to eat. So I was gonna bone out and come back tomorrow night. Do you want to come back tomorrow night with us? Because everybody's expecting us to be here tomorrow night.
Yeah, I might, Jimmy. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right. Well, let's head out, man. I need to go in and get something to eat.
Great chat.
But let's see if Rio wants to come on for a minute just to say hello. Rio, let me know in the chat if you want to say hello. Rio's gonna jump on here. Listen into the microcosm unplugged. Come on!
Is everybody in? Is everybody in?
Hey, stick around, Sunspots. Rio's gonna jump in here. Hey, Rio.
About to begin.
You there, man? Hang on.
Let me tell you about heartache and the loss of God. Wandering in hopeless night. Out here in the perimeter, there are no stars. Out here, we is stone, immaculate.
Rockin' Rio. Oh, you that? I see him, but I don't hear him. He's a no see him, a no hear him. I don't hear you. I can't hear you, man.
Tomorrow.
Can I hear you, Bruce?
It keeps muting me for some reason.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, I don't know what's going on. The mute button's randomly clicking itself.
I don't know. Well, it's good to hear you. Good to see you. So I was about to get out and go get something to eat. If you and Bruce want to stay on, I can just mute up and walk away, and you guys can hang out for a bit. Just be careful what you say.
Well, no, I actually just got home. I'm going to make myself some dinner.
Okay. All right.
And then
tomorrow night.
We'll pick up the conversation tomorrow night. You guys are actually very interesting ride home to listen to. So
badass. Right on, man.
Oh,
excellent.
Guys.
All right. We'll see you tonight. See you tomorrow night.
I do have some Putin for tomorrow. So.
Oh, great, man. All right. Well, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow night, eh? All right. Here we go. We're heading out right now.
Say that I was raised on romance.